I'm Georgia Simmerling. I'm a 4-time Canadian Olympic retired athlete. AG Sports is my sports agency that I started after the 2020 Summer Olympic Games on my own. I saw a massive gap where there was very little, if any, female representation for female athletes. I wanted to bridge those two and represent female athletes across the country, both summer and winter sports. Bringing athlete deals to the athletes that I represent, it's one more female and one more woman that's representing women. AG Sports is in Canada to change the landscape of Canadian sports. My mission is to bring equality and equity to sport in Canada and really just be a voice for those athletes. I'm Georgia Simmerling, and this is my Bags to Riches story. I was born and raised on the North Shore of Vancouver. Sports have always been a big part of my life, always being outside. I was ripping down double black diamonds when I was maybe 6, just to try to keep up to my brothers. The ultimate dream for me was to represent my country and wear that maple leaf on my back as a national team athlete. The first time I was selected to the Olympic team, I truly didn't believe it at the time. And it sunk in when I was walking through the opening ceremonies of the 2010 Games in Vancouver, knowing my family was in the crowd and all Canadians were cheering for us, which I remember being really special. I was incredibly proud, and that was just the beginning of my Olympic career. I was able to compete in 4 different Olympic Games in alpine, ski cross, and track cycling. I won a bronze medal in the 2016 Rio Summer Olympic Games in track cycling. It meant everything. It's this, culmination of 24 years of work that has been brought to fruition in that moment of time, I will never forget. I am the only Canadian to ever compete in 3 different Olympics in 3 different sports.
I know what it took for me just to be able to get myself to an Olympic Games. So to think of doing that 3 separate times, starting fresh, starting new, and something totally different, that was something that first drew me towards her.
Elite athletes, we are used to being very good at what we do. And we're used to being one of the best in the world. So to switch sports, it requires this sense of, accepting that you're not gonna be the best, accepting that you're gonna fail many times.
It's a true testament to not only her confidence and belief in herself, but also just the incredible strength and talent that she has.
If you're starting over, whether that's sport or career or whatever it may be, I think the same lessons apply. It's this sense of, letting your guard down, being vulnerable, being accepting to information, accepting to criticism. You have to regrow. You have to start from the bottom and work your way back up. There's a little fear, but it's how do you challenge your fear and doubt to something that you can use? You have to look at that big goal and then work your way back. What do you have to achieve today, tomorrow, in the next week, in the next month to achieve something that you want to achieve in 4 years from now? And that's where you gain the belief, because you gain confidence every day. I did all this despite many career-ending injuries. Every injury was a career-ending injury, and every time I'd go back to the doctor, they'd be like, I don't know how you're moving.
A lot of athletes, I think mentally, that would have kind of been the end, and it's a big, big challenge for athletes to overcome.
I can confidently say that I have become a stronger human being mentally and physically from each and every one of my injuries. I just had an underlying, powerful motivation that I was going to heal, stronger. I definitely went through some dark times and suffered an eating disorder. For many, many years, I suffered from bulimia, not putting in the right fuel in my body, not feeling good about myself mentally and physically. I was able to then address it. And Steph was a big part of that.
Just being there, listening, I could see the weight off her chest just by talking about it.
It's not even asking for help, it's just actually sharing what you're going through. That alone will bring you strength and confidence to then, take the next steps.
Telling those close to you is one of the hardest things. And so I knew that I was really grateful at the beginning that she opened up to me, that she talked to me. And I think I just saw this incredible strength in her.
Having her support was tremendous and really, really powerful for me to slowly kind of work through it. And that alone, I think, is the first step of healing. Just having Steph around me and living with her was a massive help. After 2020 Olympic Games in Tokyo, which were in 2021, I knew that I wanted to retire. I had mentors and retired athletes throughout the course of my career that told me, understand what you want to do after you're done, because you will be done one day. You will not be on top of a podium. You will not be on TV. And I really took that to heart. And so I believe I took a slightly different approach than most athletes that retire and go through a transition, where I did a lot of work prior to retiring. About 6 months prior to, I started setting up a lot of meetings with people in various different industries that I was interested in. I knew I didn't really want to be a coach, so I wanted to be on the other side of the lens, if you will, more on the business side. So sports agency, sports marketing, sports management.
Through her experience and lived experience, I think it was a natural fit. It's, no secret that as a female, it's very hard to talk about your value and what you're worth, and to fight for that is something that she's very, very good at.
I represented myself as a young whippersnapper, and I was able to have conversations with professionals at a young age and to understand about saving a little bit of money here and there. And I invested some of my money at a pretty early age, and I'm very lucky that I had that knowledge. So my advice would be talk to someone that knows the world of financial literacy. Like, you have money growing, to not have it sit in your savings account is smart, and to have it grow even slowly is very, very valuable down the road. My mission is to bring equality and equity to sport in Canada, and by doing so, represent female athletes across the country, both summer and winter, Paralympians as well.
I think for Georgia, it was all about transferring the confidence and the ownership and the self-value to other athletes. She is so confident in what she's worth, and she knows what not only herself, but what a female athlete is worth.
I'm putting in all the same work ethic that I had as an athlete into my job. The same passion that I had as an athlete, I'm putting that into my work, and I love it.